Hello everyone and welcome to World Car TV. I'm Scotty Reiss coming to you from Austin, Texas. In this episode, we're going to take an up-close look at 4 World Car Award contenders. But first, say hello to my co-host Sid.
Hello to you too, Scotty, and to everyone watching. Yes, it's a packed show. We're going to have some great cars and SUVs coming your way. It is the very first ever SUV from the Genesis brand, the return of the Land Rover Defender, the hot new Kia Sonet, and the brand new Chevrolet Onix.
And we're going to have a look at some of the under-the-hood technology that keeps us safe on the road from our friends at ZF. This fall, our World Car Awards colleagues have been test driving cars on the road to World Car 2021.
To qualify for the World Car Awards, these cars have to be all new, available on 2 or more continents, and on sale before May of 2021.
The judging criteria is stringent, and there are more than 50 vehicles that are eligible for 2021 World Car Awards in one of our 5 categories: World Luxury Car, World Urban Car, World Performance Car, World Car Design, and the big one, World Car of the Year. So Sid, shall we jump in?
So our top story today comes from sunny California. Now this is a car that has a lot of attention. It's the first ever luxury SUV from the brand Genesis, the GV80. Scotty and our colleague Abigail Bassett were amongst the first in the world to get a look at this SUV. Here is what they discovered.
The best kept secret in the auto business in the last 5 years might have been Genesis. This luxury brand from Korean automaker Hyundai has loaded its sedans with over-the-top luxury, cutting-edge technology, and competitive pricing so that insiders know that this is a really great car. It's been a great secret until now. The cat's out of the bag now that Genesis has introduced the GV80 SUV. The GV80 continues the new design language of Genesis that we first saw in the G80, and that's marked by this wide diamond-cut grille and quad lights that actually wrap around the frame of the car on both the front and the back. Buyers of the GV80 have a choice between 2 different engine specs. There is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with 300 horsepower, or there's the larger 3.5-liter V6 with 375 horsepower. And if you wonder if a Korean car maker can really build a world-class SUV, well, the answer is yes. And that's because the designers and the engineers of this car have a really great collection of luxury car DNA. They came from Audi, BMW, Volkswagen, and Bentley to build this car. Buyers of the 4-cylinder turbo can choose between rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. The V6 is only available in all-wheel drive, though the system is rear-wheel biased. The all-wheel drive system only kicks in when it's needed. Between the rear-wheel drive bias and sport mode, the V6 GV80 has that hug-the-road feel. With 375 horsepower, it takes hills and curves nicely, and it has the sporty drive feel that you expect in a European sport SUV. That's because the GV80 was tuned more for on-road performance than off-road capability. The 4-cylinder turbo is not shy by any means, though. Drivers will have confidence merging onto the highway and passing slower traffic. So I'm here with my friend Abby Bassett, also an automotive journalist. We've just gone for a ride in the GV80. And what do you think about the GV80, Abby?
So I'm incredibly impressed with this car. It's the first SUV from Genesis, and it has knocked it out of the park. I think they've offered so much for such a good price that it's going to be really hard to beat.
What's your thought on the design in this car?
So I really like the sort of presence that it has on the road from the outside. It just looks good. I had a lot of people turn their heads as I was driving it. I think the design language that they're starting to develop from Genesis is really making it stand out in the market. And it's carried on throughout the vehicle inside. So you get this same kind of width of expression and this same kind of like openness, the spaciousness inside, which is really, really nice. They've done a really good job of taking this diamond grille pattern and repeating it in ways that are really nice and subtle and good looking on the interior.
Thanks for spending time with me, Abby.
Thank you so much, Scotty.
Another design detail that is very unique is this floating center console. And you have an armrest here covered in leather, of course. You have your drive and infotainment controls, drive mode. And then you have this really beautiful climate control system. This is actually a flat glass panel with haptic controls. So you can actually slide to increase the fan, or you can slide to decrease it, and you feel it sort of rumble when you touch the glass. These are your temperature control setting here. And then you also have media hot buttons here. So media, radio, navigation, map. You have those buttons at your fingertip if you really want to get to something quickly and don't have the time or patience to use the dial controller. Rear seat passengers have a lot of space and a lot of amenities. So you have 2 USB ports and a household outlet right here. You have climate control here. One of the really cool features in the Genesis are these buttons here that allow you to push the seat forward or move it back however you would like. And you can also move the back, so you can make yourself comfortable as a rear seat passenger. But check this out. This is something most luxury SUVs don't have, and that is center row reclining seats. To open the GV80, most car manufacturers put their opening button here. The GV80 puts it right there. The rear cargo area of the GV80 is ample. There's a ton of space for anything that you need to put in it. If you choose the mid-level trim in the 3.5 V6, you also have the option of a third row that operates with the press of a button. If you don't choose the third row, there's plenty of cargo area. There's also storage underneath the cargo floor. And underneath here, there's room for a spare tire.
Thank you, Scotty. Now that is one model that's likely to put more Genesis cars on more driveways this year. I'm glad you and Abby were able to bring us those details.
Me too, Sid. And the SUV category is hot and getting hotter. As we see with our next story, a long-awaited and much talked about off-road master, the return of the Land Rover Defender. Here is our South African colleague, Brenwin Naidu, with the story.
At the Frankfurt Motor Show in 2019, the Land Rover stand was overwhelmed with throngs of enthused spectators. And the reason for that was this, the reinvented Defender. This is a product with heavy expectations on its haunches, but the goodwill among the buying public seems strong already. It even earned a spot on the preliminary list of eligible vehicles for the 2021 World Car Awards in the luxury car category. Now, the first thing to acknowledge is that the ergonomics of the Defender have finally joined us in the 21st century. Gone is that awkward handbrake placement, and no longer do you have to drive with your arms sticking out of the driver's side window in order to be comfortable. The cabin is well suited to the digital age, with USB ports aplenty and a rather impressive touchscreen infotainment system. You certainly don't want to be hosing this interior down, as you might have done with the old car. So, just to remind you of a few things before we ease into proceedings. First off, the price. It starts off at just a snip over the R1,000,000 mark, which is about $61,000 US or 52,000 euros or 47,000 pounds for our friends in the UK. This is not far off the radar of the regular Discovery. Since we mentioned Discovery, we should note that the Defender uses the same aluminium-intensive D7 architecture that underpins that model, albeit extensively reworked. The fact that it has independent suspension at both axles and the benefit of pneumatics means that it promises to be far more enjoyable on the road when you're not doing stuff like this. But when you are doing stuff like this, you can look rather heroic without much effort, because its suite of technologies is designed to make the most novice of outdoorsmen, i.e. me, look like the real deal.
Your choice of engines includes two familiar 4-cylinders, both turbocharged, one being a petrol and the other a diesel. Next up is a boosted inline 6-cylinder petrol incorporating mild hybrid technology. A 6-cylinder diesel is also part of the mix, as is a plug-in hybrid version. Of course, you can have your Defender in two sizes, the compact 90 or the long wheelbase 110.
You also get elements like the Clear Sight ground view system, which shows you the section of earth that would usually be concealed by the bonnet. Fantastic. How about some numbers? Ground clearance, that goes up to 291 millimeters. What about maximum axle articulation? That's 500 millimeters. Wading depth, 900 millimeters. Approach, breakover and departure angles, that's 38, 28 and 40 degrees respectively. The upgraded Terrain Response 2 system is virtually foolproof, with its pictograms that correspond with the surfaces underfoot. All you have to do really is bring your own beard. The Defender does everything else. So I made it through the Holgate approved trail with the Defender barely breaking a sweat. But the real test for this car lies beyond a simulated environment in a Johannesburg suburb. Oh no, the real test for this car will be the African continent.
Thank you, Brenwin. The Land Rover Defender sure looks like a really strong contender for World Luxury Car 2021. Now on to a practical and fun to drive new subcompact, the Kia Sonet. It's in the running for World Car and World Urban Car of the Year. And this report comes to you from right here in India. Our juror Renuka Kirpalani spent some time with the Sonet.
One of the contenders for the World Car of the Year this year is the Kia Sonet. In a nutshell, this car grabs eyeballs off the bat. Detailing like the grille and the surrounding knurled chrome, the wraparound C-pillar, the 16-inch alloys, the heartbeat lamps front and rear set it apart and make it super stylish. So the interior of the Sonet feels really top-notch. All the quality feels good on the inside, whether we talk about materials or the way that the switchgear, all of it works. Lots and lots of storage spaces for practicality. You have cup holders. You have a slot here as well for your phone. There's another one anti-slip there where I had my phone in the first place. Pockets have 1 liter bottle spaces. They have umbrella holders as well. So they pretty much thought of everything on this inside. While it may be a compact SUV, the Sonet can pack in quite a bit of luggage with what I think is a class-leading amount of boot space at 392 litres. Well, I kicked off my drive with a 1 litre turbo DCT. Now, first things first, when you start off in the Sonet, one has to remember that this screen does stick out on top of the dash. So for someone like me, who's probably about 5'3", 5'4", you have to get your seat height up quite high. But there's a large range of adjustments, so it works pretty well, and I still have a good commanding view of the road. The Sonet also feels solidly built and all its parts work away silently, whether we talk of the engine or the suspension. Now, what's really nice about the Sonet is the way that it cocoons you on the inside. It just shuts out outside sounds like a bigger car would, so it feels very refined on the inside. Okay, so let's talk about performance now. Now, this 1 litre engine is really its strong point. In fact, it just doesn't feel like a 1 liter at all. It's strong, it's smooth, it's free revving, and it's got enough pep whenever you want. Now, as I said, it's made it to a 7-speed DCT. This makes the gearbox a very busy one in D mode. It runs up the gears really quickly to ensure efficiency, and so very often when you want a bigger burst of power to tuck into a traffic gap, it has to come down several gears. I think this gearbox reacts better to lighter foot, gentler inputs on the throttle. If you do stomp your foot down, it will wait on you for a bit before shifting down and getting a move on. The Sonet gets up to triple-digit speeds reasonably easily. The 0 to 100 comes up in about 12.25 seconds. Now, when you do get up to triple-digit speeds, the Sonet feels stable and planted. Now, the steering is light, but it is quick enough to react. And even around corners or at higher speeds, it gives you enough confidence. The advantage of the fact of it being on the lighter side is when you do need to make that U-turn, it is easy enough to twirl this car around. So the Sonet has various drive modes, Eco for those who want maximum efficiency, and then of course you can toggle between normal and Sport, the one that I like best. It does get your throttle responses to be a little more immediate, but apart from that, it's not a whole lot different from normal. So the ride quality of the Sonet is actually quite nice. It rounds off all the bumps, potholes, and even really bad roads. It goes over them quite easily and well, doesn't bottom out anywhere, and lets very little filter through to the passengers. Sharper ruts do catch it out sometimes, but on the whole, it's quite a pliant and composed ride. The Kia Sonet definitely looks stylish. Those interiors, well, they do have wow factor, make you feel like you're sitting in a car that's a segment above. Performance is good and it does come feature loaded. So it has raised the bar in terms of the compact SUV segment. It does fall short on one place, however, and that is the back seat. It is tight and there's no two ways about it. We do wish it had more backseat space, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that from behind the wheel, the Kia Sonet is a really enjoyable experience and it does have wow factor. I think Kia have another winner on their hands.
The Kia Sonet looks like a lot of fun, and it looks a little familiar. Is that the car behind you?
It is, Scotty, and I've spent a lot of time with the car too, and I agree with Renuka. It's a fun car around town. So what are you driving today?
It's the Toyota Highlander Hybrid. It's been completely redesigned, and Toyota's engineers were able to improve the fuel economy to a surprising 35 miles per gallon. It also has some really great semi-autonomous driving technology, which is the subject of our next story. Brought to us by our friends from ZF, this is Car Tech at Work.
Level 2 Plus automated driving systems deliver enhanced comfort, convenience, and safety to light vehicles. On long journeys, they assist with the driving task and can allow for hands and feet-free driving for extended periods. But the driver must always be in the loop and ready to take control at all times. This helps make the trip less stressful and relieves monotony. In traffic jams, Level 2 Plus systems are designed to monitor the vehicle's surroundings and enable the vehicle to stop and proceed when camera and radar sensors confirm it is safe to do so, without the need for the driver to constantly press the brake pedal or accelerator. Level 2 Plus systems can be your constant companion, helping deliver a safe and comfortable driving experience.
It is amazing just how much of the driving our cars can now do for us. But for those of you who want to do all the driving, on to the next car we want to look at. It is the Chevrolet Onix. It's with my colleague Manuel Fernández in Colombia.
Thank you, Scotty and Siddharth. We are now in Colombia with a truly global vehicle from GM. It was developed in China, partly, but it's not sold only in Asia, also in Latin America. Actually, this hatchback is made in Brazil, but there's also a four-door made in Mexico. And yes, we know this car is also nominated in the urban category. We are not in the city. Why is that? Because in Colombia and other Latin American markets, these cars are used for everything, for the daily commute to work and also for long trips with the family. So a car like the Onix has to be a jack of all trades. A simple interior shows decent quality, but a conventional approach that shows a car that has to keep a competitive price and enough practicality. Ergonomics are mostly spot on, and the best part is the now common touchscreen, with the user-friendly infotainment system from General Motors, called My Link for Chevrolet. Maybe not as sophisticated as European exponents such as the Seat Ibiza or the Peugeot 208, the Onix tries to show some sportiness in this RS version with some red touches and one-piece front seats. Regionally, it competes well with the Brazilian-made Volkswagen Polo or both the Indian and Japanese Suzuki Swift. But while the interior is a more cost-oriented offer, its driving dynamics are more on par with a global subcompact car. With a well chassis setup, a quick and precise steering, a nice manual shifter and a low weight that keeps it nimble and efficient to drive. What makes this Onix special is that for the first time in emerging markets, there is a turbocharged engine for every version, and this is a good one. In the case of this 1-liter unit, performance is above average, transmissions are well sorted out, and it is quite smooth for a 3-cylinder. Lag is well controlled, but obvious, and fuel consumption can be impressively low. The Onix is not a revolutionary car in how it looks, but in the mechanical aspect it can make quite a big difference regionally, because it is unusual here to have such a good balance between performance, price and fuel efficiency. This is just the right car for many people in terms of size, safety, comfort features, and it is also faster than most of the affordable local family cars.
It is so nice to see an American car as an eligible vehicle for World Car Awards. Thank you to our colleagues from Latin America for bringing us that story, as well as our colleagues from South Africa, India, and California. If you'd like to see more of our test drives, just follow us on social media. You'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, and of course, on YouTube.
And never miss a single episode. All you have to do is hit subscribe and future episodes will be delivered to your inbox. Thank you for joining us on World Car TV. Wherever you are in the world, stay safe on or off the road. Until next time, then it's goodbye and always wear your seatbelts.